Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and according to Zillow, home prices are going to the moon despite the most overwhelming unaffordability challenges that we've had since the 1980s. Are people forgetting this? Are people forgetting the almost, not quite, but depending on the metro area, I get it, the almost 50% run up in equity in the last 2.5 years. Meanwhile, wages, when we adjust for inflation, are actually lower than the start of the pandemic. So again, I think it's worth noting both sides of the coin here. So obviously we'll take a look at Zillow. They're going to give us the May housing market report update. You guys can access this if you want to check out the data on your own metro area. But let's not forget, obviously Zillow is super bullish. I think it's important to see what the narrative is on the bullish side, the bearish side, and then something in between. Remember though, I'm not a financial advisor, even though my bio is as a realtor, loan officer, instructor in real estate, husband, father, renter, someone that had a foreclosure, bankruptcy, repo, okay? For all of these things, guys, for my channel, for my heart, for my effort, please like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Shoot me a comment below. But either way, I really hope you guys enjoy today's data-driven video. Name of the article is Home Buying Competition Pushes Prices Higher, May 2023 Market Report. This does have interactive data that is very interesting. So again, go to my description, find the link, check out your own metro areas if you guys want a little bit more details on your own personal housing market. Now, this says the typical U.S. home value climbed 1.4% from April to May, the strongest monthly growth since last June, and fast enough to cement this home shopping season as an unusually hot one. Although still a few degrees cooler than the past two springs, home buyers who have persevered in the face of daunting unaffordability challenges are finding very few fresh options, helping to trigger bidding wars and surprisingly high sales prices for the lucky few listings on the market. So the fear of missing out. And the thing is, guys, is it's, this year's not over. So it is possible that this year that we have a second round of inflation in the housing market. It already appears that way. If we hit year-over-year growth this year, that will mean essentially that the inflation is worse this year than last year, which is completely backwards, completely shocking. It seems like a really overheated housing market that is just fixing to completely melt down. This is insane. The typical home value, and this is according to Zillow and their algorithm they use called the Zillow Home Value Index, that climbed to 346,000. That is 0.9% higher than 1 year ago. The second quarter is traditionally the hottest time of year for the for-sale housing market, and 2023 has been no exception so far. It remains to be seen if the usual seasonal price slowdown beginning in August will arrive like normal this year, and I expect it to arrive at the end of June. At least the slowdown at the end of June with the whiplash taking effect, shortly after that. That's what I believe. We saw that back in 2006, 2008, 2009, and 2010. All had periods where seasonality actually raised home values. Now, obviously, back in the great financial crisis, that was followed by massive declines. And I think we have something similar going on right now. The only thing is this is a self-induced recession, right? Or we're not even in recession technically, but this is federally induced right now. The QE and the QT, both was federally induced. This is crazy. Here's the raw home value data. On the left is yearly, on the right is month over month. You guys can see that nationally prices went down. All right, we did have prices go down, drop in value last year towards the end of June, beginning of July. Now, what's interesting, if you really look here, you can see that it is rebounding, okay? Not quite above the peak of last year, but look at how close it is, y'all. And you can see here, looking at the month over month increase and decline, I mean, look at the massive drop. This drop right here really broke seasonality. It's just really hard for me to understand so many people with a lack of patience, or maybe they just don't understand, or maybe they're not cautious, or maybe they have to move. Who knows? But this is absolutely wild. And you guys can look here. If we go to the top declining metro areas, for example, Austin, you can see Austin had a massive, massive decline downward, but look at it has slowly rebounded. Now, listen, it has barely rebounded though. Now, I believe the reason that is Austin has the most inventory essentially than any other metro area, exceeding pre-pandemic inventory. And as a result of that pre-pandemic inventory, Austin is continuously having price declines in certain zip codes and in certain areas around Austin. And you can see that here. While the national average is kind of spiking up, Austin spiked up a little bit and now is starting to plateau. Very interesting. This should tell us how important inventory is. But inventory is not as important in all metro areas. As an example, San Jose. Now you could see San Jose as well, massive decline in San Jose, followed by a peak upward. Now, the interesting thing about this, y'all, and San Jose hit over 15% decline, so I called crashing in San Jose, not on a national average because we only hit around 13% on a national average. But you can see it's starting to rebound a little bit, but it was a massive drop in median sales price and value, depending on what data source and algorithm you're looking at. But yet inventory was still historically low in San Jose. Now that is a result of unemployment and a weak job market, in my opinion, and people leaving that area. So that also tells us powerful unemployment and migration is. This goes on. The largest monthly home value gains were seen in more affordable metro areas, primarily in the Midwest, which accounted for 6 to 7 metros with the biggest gains in May. Columbus led the way at 2.2% monthly gain, and then Cincinnati at 2.2, Detroit 2.1, that's crazy, Richmond 2.1, Milwaukee 2%. Prices did not drop on a monthly basis in any of the 50 largest metro areas. So Austin finally came off their list. But the smallest gains were in Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is leading this month, month over month, followed by New Orleans, Phoenix at number 3, Austin, and a second Texas city, San Antonio. So Texas is not out of the woods like they were on that last financial collapse. One interesting trend to which is the rebound in West Coast markets where prices fell substantially in late 2022. For the second month in a row, tech hub San Jose, Seattle, and San Francisco saw monthly price gains above the national average. Intriguing. So that may be a sign of people going out to those metro areas thinking that we hit the bottom and trying to scoop up those houses so that they gain equity, which to me is especially dangerous considering we're not out of the cycle of inflation or quantitative tightening right now. And if you really, really want to buy, generally the best time to buy is between December and February, just FYI. Now, home values are now down from a year ago level in just over 27 of the 50 largest metro areas, most significantly in Austin at down negative 11%, San Fran negative 9%, San Jose negative 8%, Phoenix negative 7%, Las Vegas negative 7%. So they have rebounded somewhat, but they're still down significantly. So here's a year over year decline. And if we're realistic about this, there are no metro areas where the majority of home builders actually won, because remember, it generally takes 8% to even sell your house, roughly 6% to realtors, 5 or 6% to realtors, and roughly about 2% in junk fees like taxes and things of that nature. So in order for them to have won by purchasing last year, the amount that these areas would need to go up is a minimum of 9%. If it goes up 9%, then you can yield, most people yield 1%. So none of these metro areas are winners by that rationale. You can see the top metro area, the very top metro area is only up 5.7% year over year. Okay, number 2, of course, is Miami. So that's been replaced by Richmond. Miami's at 5.38%. But when we scroll to the bottom, we can really start to see the cities that are in super bad shape. And with the first negative being Jacksonville, Florida. So Tampa's on here as well. Florida's starting to get on this list, which is nice. Now, obviously, the top metro areas with decline are right here: Austin, San Francisco, San Jose, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Sacramento, Seattle, San Diego, Salt Lake City, Denver, and Los Angeles. And these are all, again, year over year declines. This means that you don't win, right? Again, unless you hold for 10 years and you don't have to move. If you don't have to move and you hold for 10 years, more than likely house value is eventually going to go up. Unfortunately, you're probably going to be stuck with a super duper high payment. The curious case of missing listings, and this really is unfortunate. I wish we had a lot more resale listings. There were 23% fewer new listings than last May. That's a problem. A milder year-over-year drop than observed in April at negative 28%. Also a problem, but very similar to the 22% annual decline in March. The dearth of new listings has dogged the housing market for almost a year now, and the chief suspects remains unchanged. Today's higher mortgage rates, 6.8% of this writing, the highest since November, up from 5.1% a year ago, and 3% from 2 years ago, make it costly for homeowners, most of whom have a mortgage below today's rates and intend to turn around and borrow for their next home purchase to list their home. Even without intentions of buying another home, anyone with a sizable mortgage for under 4% might not want to let that go when they could potentially rent out the home for more than their carrying costs. More than likely what people will have to do if they have to move is just rent out their house, because if their rate is 4%, primary residences will have one of the best cap rates. The thing that's dangerous is most people don't know what to expect when converting their primary residence to a rental. It's not as easy as it seems. That's what I did in my own personal situation. I have a 2.35% on my primary residence. I converted it to a rental, and right now I'm renting myself. We downgraded. We're saving money. We're working on our purchasing power. We're sitting on the sidelines, but I am renting right now. And overall, I don't like it, but I definitely think it is the right thing to do. The reservoir of listings has not been refilled at its normal pace this year, which again, you guys, total bummer. Total active inventory in May was down only 3.1% from last year and stands a whopping almost half below May 2019 levels. Pretty much a bummer, you guys. The small year-over-year decline brings inventory back full circle after 11 consecutive months of year-over-year gains. Tiny increases last summer, swelling to 19.5% year-over-year growth in January before steadily dwindling to this year's small deficit. Last month's active inventory total marked the fewest active listings in any May on record. On current trends, given the lack of new listings, it is likely that June will also see a new low water mark. These low inventory levels are a probable cause of strong home value growth this spring. And you guys, again, can go here. Here's a drop-down chart right here. You can basically see historically over the last 5 years, we're super low at a total new listings of 376,000. Again, that is way low. That's a 6-year low right there. That's not what we want. It's understandable because people do have low interest rates, but some people obviously still have to sell. And that's why we're seeing people still selling. And here's the year over year right here, you guys. Again, you can drop this down. Let's take a look at Austin real quick to see how much inventory Austin has comparable. So Austin is kind of historically low as well, but they still, as far as months of supply and active units, are above 2019 levels, which means demand has been completely annihilated in Austin. Although some people are still buying in Austin, I'm not debating that. But again, go back here if you guys are really interested and want to dig in deeper. Buyers persevered in May, keeping pending sales strong. I don't think that they persevered, y'all. I think buyers made a mistake and jumped the gun. That's just my opinion. Obviously, Zillow's opinion is the exact opposite of that. Newly pending listings climbed 9.5% from April, shrinking the year-over-year decline to a mere 18% in May, a steady improvement from a 21% drop in April and a 24% dip in March. And this kind of tells us things can change immediately, pretty much overnight, especially if any type of black swan whatsoever hits us. The roughly 295,000 listings that went pending in May, some claims that the market is at a standstill. The reason for continued improvement is not crystal clear, as mortgage rates actually climbed in the second half of the month. In 2018, 2019, and 2022 may mark the higher watermark for pending sales. Data in the weeks ahead will review if that seasonal pattern repeats itself in 2023 or if the buying season stretched into summer like 2020 and 2021. So if we look at newly pending listings, we can see that newly pending listings are actually fairly decently high. When we look at the last 6 years, it's actually kind of in the middle. Now it is year over year down 18%. This means that people are snatching up those new listings right away. So the new houses, the new listings that are nice, they're getting bought up. The junk listings that have been on the market are generally staying on the market, depending on the metro area. This is a big one, guys. Rents continue to grow slower than normal. Asking rents climbed 0.6% month over month again in May. Rents are now 4.8% higher than in May of last year and have climbed only 1.9% this year to date, and somewhat slow start of the year. And you guys, I'm going to tell you why that is, and it's probably going to get even worse, as well, actually better if you're a consumer. Well, actually should get better because the inventory is exploding in the rental market, and also the inventory is exploding in commercial real estate. It's just not exploding in the resale residential real estate market. New home building, yes, exploding. Inventory is exploding there again, but not resale. We need more resale residential listings. And so here's the rent index observed. It's been pretty flat to start 2023. You guys can see that here. Here's year over year, and you guys saw it plunge down. So it's 4.7%. And look at how much it spiked in 2021. And this is why all these YouTubers are like, oh, you better buy right now. You're going to get trapped renting. Oh, wait, never mind. Rental growth is going down. Sorry for misleading you. If you misled people, that's what you should say. Especially because they're buying something. Like if if you give the wrong advice and someone bought something for hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's pretty scary. That's again why I believe in caution. Caution, caution, caution. Now that is Zillow's housing market update report. I hope you guys enjoyed the data. There's so many data providers. We got Zillow, we got Redfin, we got CoreLogic, we got Black Knight, we got the MLS, we got Realtor.com. We have so many different people. I think it's important to watch what everyone is saying. Obviously, that was a super bullish stance. And honestly, y'all, and I know these people are like, have the narrative, the Crash Bros were wrong, we were right. But the reality is the banks got bailed out. The market was crashing. The Federal Reserve bailed out the banks about $400 billion. That has an impact. That's liquidity, y'all. And I'm pretty sure absolutely no one saw that coming. And if we didn't have that, the housing market crash would continue. But instead of that, we have what I believe is a dead cat bounce that will potentially harm some homeowners. If you are purchasing a house right now, or at least what I would do if I was purchasing a house is I would try to find something and I would do my research and find something with wedge that's being sold for undervalue. It's hard to find that, but it still exists. And I would also make sure that my financing to purchase was set up in such a way that I could still cash flow if some emergency situation came up and I had to rent my house out. So make sure that if you are out there, do your rental analysis, make sure you can cash flow, think about the worst possible situation, or at least plan for the worst. By all means, hope for the best. We can all hope for the best, but plan for the worst. All right. And that's my point, you guys. And I really hope that today, as I do every day, I really hope you guys got some new value, insights, and perspective. And if you're out there investing in real estate, I wish you luck and I hope you win.